I've been wearing these headphones for 2 years straight, pretty much every day for many hours, like 4 or 5 hours. And this is what they look like right now. So are they any good and should you buy them? Personally, I held off a long time before I bought them, about a year or two. I thought they were just an unnecessary luxury that I didn't really want to spend money on. I had headphones before that weren't that amazing, and I like to be a bit aware of my surroundings. I didn't really think they would be necessary. Then I lived together with someone else in this small flat, and that triggered me to buy them, to have my own privacy or space, to not hear every little detail. And I must say, I really regret not buying them any earlier. They have been an amazing purchase. When I use these headphones together with my laptop, I feel like I'm being plugged into the matrix. Suddenly, all the noise around me becomes damp, it all disappears, or it gets reduced to background noise that you can easily ignore in your subconscious, while at the same time you can hear everything that you do on your laptop, all the YouTube videos you watch, and just in general all the sound you hear. It's very crystal clear and sounds great. So it really allows you to greatly focus on whatever you're doing. It's gotten to the point where I even use them without any sound when I'm working, just so that I can focus better on my work, even though I'm not listening to anything. But the noise cancellation alone is good enough just to do that. They do, however, have some problems. I've heard people say that they creak a lot when you move them a bit, and that certainly might be true, but it doesn't really bother me at all, and it's not that much. What bothers me is that the padding here is not that great. So when you actually wear them for many hours, maybe while you're working, they will start to hurt quite a bit. And it's mostly because this padding right here is not good enough. Also, while I've worn them, I've noticed repeatedly that there was a lot of black stuff or residue on sort of the side of my face here. And I've discovered that this is because the, I think, black leather or whatever cloth they use, it is slowly breaking apart. And this is resulting in this here that you can see. So they're practically falling apart slowly. And right now they're starting to become useless, and even the noise cancellation is affected because it's not nice around the ears anymore. It's a bit too loose, and so sound gets through more easily. So these are the Bose Quiet Comfort 700s, and I was almost gonna buy the Quiet Comfort 35 ones, but because these were newer, I went for them, and they have like a more stylish look. At least they're supposed to look stylish, but I found they don't look overly great when you take walks outside with them, so they're quite clunky. I mostly use them to be plugged into my computer, where they are so immersive, and for focused work. However, I also went on a bunch of walks with them and listened to some audiobooks. And then I randomly noticed, if you just pause the audiobook or you stop listening to anything, but you keep the headphones on with the noise cancellation, so in a bad way it's isolating because you don't hear any of your surroundings. And I always thought I would appreciate being aware of them, but it's oddly meditative when you just have total quietness and you're walking through groups of people and it's just silent, and you can be really at peace with yourself and have a good think about stuff. So I went on a surprising amount of walks where I don't actually listen to anything and I just have a nice quietness around myself. While it might supposedly seem nice, the problem is that they're not so nice on the top here, as I already pointed out, so wearing them becomes cumbersome, but they're also not easily transportable. You can't really fold them. And when you're going on a walk and you want to just take them off, that's also quite annoying actually. So with other headphones I had in the past, it's quite straightforward. They're like, you can basically do something like this where you can rotate them even further and it becomes comfortable. But with these, you don't really have a happy way of living. You can pretty much wear them like this, but it becomes uncomfortable walking around with them. Just little nuances when your chin sort of hits them. And at the same time, like when you talk, when you just like look around, it's just sort of in the way. It might not seem that way right now, but that's sort of what I've noticed going on walks with them and just taking them off. They become quite cumbersome. Beyond this, surprisingly, the buttons are actually pretty much worthless on these headphones. I found that whatever auto sleep functionality, so when you stop using them, that they automatically shut down to preserve battery, that would work well, but it doesn't really work too well. So what I instead do, because it also becomes really tricky with the Bluetooth, is I just, every time I stop using them, I press a little button here to shut them off, and then they'll make a sound, and that way the Bluetooth stays the most reliable. So these are wireless headphones, and they're obviously based on Bluetooth, and there are a lot of memes around Bluetooth being massively unreliable. And in the 2 years that I've extensively worn them, I can actually say that I'm massively surprised by how well the Bluetooth works. It works perfectly and seamlessly. I would have said that 2 months ago, but then it kind of stopped working. The problem is when you have too many devices, and I sort of got a new device, it will sometimes be a little bit wonky. But what happened to me was that they always work perfectly with my laptop. However, I received a new work laptop and I tried to use them with the new work laptop, and that worked flawlessly. But then suddenly they behaved so weirdly with my old laptop. So I would listen to something on YouTube, I would press the pause button, and then when I resumed, it would just completely stop working, and I would have to either restart the headphones, or I would have to shut the laptop and open it again. Or I think just reloading the page was enough. I eventually found that out, but it was just very annoying and cumbersome because every time you pause something, it would break. And these Bluetooth shenanigans lead me to my next point about the buttons on the headphones. So there are these 3 buttons here, and I honestly forgot what they're doing. There's basically one button, and there's a good reason that I forgot that. Now that I think about it, I remember it again. So there's this button which I use extensively. I use it to turn them on and off, and it's the best way to avoid the wonky Bluetoothness. That way you always know when the headphones are on and when they're connected and whatnot, because they will also give you a sound that indicates that. The other button is the voice assistant button, Siri or Alexa or whatever, but it's completely garbage, and I don't understand why anybody would want this and why they put them in these expensive headphones. It's just so worthless, and I wish it was, you could remap the button. You can remap some stuff, but you can't really remap these buttons, and it's just garbage, and you can find it in the forums. When I bought these 2 years ago, I tried to research this, and I just found that a lot of people have this complaint, and it's not being addressed. The third button might be useful. It's to control the noise cancellation. I think you can remap it to other things too. And it's not, I never really used it. So you can change the level, or you can long press it to hear everything super loud. That might sound good in theory, but in practice I actually never used it, even though it could easily be a really useful feature. But I think because there's a slight delay or something, in practice, I really never used it. I think the problem is that these buttons, they're not so responsive. There's some delay there. So what I actually do is I just move it slightly here, and then the ear is free. It looks a bit silly, but it works surprisingly well. And then I can still hear with the right ear, but with the left I can hear what's on my surroundings. Speaking of remapping things, there's an app that you're supposed to download, which I did, and then you use it once to configure the headphones. After that you never use it again probably. And on there I learned something game-changing with these headphones. So basically when you turn the volume up or down, or you do any action, like you turn them on or off, there's this voice that is super slow and will say something like, headphones now turned on, headphones connected. But it's so slow, and it's just a chore. Especially if you turn them on, it will say volume up. And thankfully, because this would almost ruin these headphones, you can disable this voice, which is super slow. Yeah, so oftentimes when I use them in my bed, I will put my arm like this or something, and then this will trigger the long press here, and this will tell you battery 13 hours. Then after it's done, will keep going. So this is like a bit annoying, but at the same time, this sometimes happens when you don't want it to happen, for like volume up or something, and it just takes forever. Like it interrupts whatever you're doing, and it takes a long time. And in this app, you can actually disable this and replace a lot of these with sounds. For example, when they turn on, you can have a sound where it will indicate that it's turned on. So the sound actually will convey this. It will be kind of like sad when it goes off and kind of happy when it turns on. Which leads me to the gestures, which I would say are actually quite good. So turn up or turn down to change the volume, which I use actually quite a bit. It's quite useful. And then double tap to pause and continue. Yeah, actually use these ones quite a bit. I think there's also maybe one on the other side, but I don't really use it. Maybe like fast forward and whatnot. I haven't really used them ever. I fixed this Bluetooth issue that I had with my laptop by not using the laptop anymore. So now I just use the new laptop extensively. And eventually I might upgrade them. But so far I'm really happy with these headphones. They're pretty great. Even though they look really wretched, they're actually holding up surprisingly well. Speaking of this problem, there's actually a fix for it. You can buy on Amazon replacement pads. I think the official ones go for 70 or 80 euros. I bought ones for 30 euros. So let's see how that goes. This is how they look. They come with some sort of tool and some sort of guide that will help you take them off. Yeah, damn, they feel really intense now. They feel like new. Yeah, and the noise cancellation is much better now. Crazy. I'm really glad that I bought them, and they are a game changer for me myself. How do you view the whole thing? Feel free to leave me a nice comment down below, and I hope you really enjoyed watching this video and that you're gonna buy these old headphones now. So have a great day. Bye.